Jessie Draper, the Valley Girl. What does your company do? Have you ever Googled yourself?
Totally.
What makes a great entrepreneur? What's your next big idea? Tweeting's like my favorite. Let's talk business.
I'm like the Valley Girl.
You want to play some Foursquare or Dodgeball? You may have learned these games in the schoolyard, but this next guy's the guy who brought them to technology. That's right, get ready for Dennis Crowley of Foursquare. Let's talk business. Foursquare is a location-based service technology that helps you connect with friends. They currently have around 15 million users and work with around 750,000 businesses worldwide. Dennis Crowley is the founder and CEO of Foursquare. Previously, Crowley founded Dodgeball, which he sold to Google in 2005. Well, here we are with Dennis Crowley of Foursquare. So how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on your show.
Good. No, thanks for coming. So now, I understand you hurt yourself. I'm sorry about that, but that wasn't snowboarding, was it?
It was just some weird freak accident in San Francisco that I don't really know what it is, but I've been limping around for the last couple days.
You know, San Francisco does that to people.
Yeah, I was there for 10 days, so that's what happens. Yeah.
Oh man. Well, so now you founded Dodgeball, sold it to Google.
Yep.
Congratulations, high five for that.
Thank you very much.
And then, you founded Foursquare, which is incredible, and I'm obsessed, by the way.
Thank you for that too.
And I have like thousands of questions.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that you can help me unlock thousands of badges.
Let's start with number one, yeah.
So tell me, first for our viewers, what is Foursquare?
Sure. Well, we always describe it as we're trying to make apps for mobile phones and that really help people change the way they experience the real world, right? And so I think a lot of people have associated us with being about check-ins, like you check into places, and people do that all the time on Foursquare. But what we're starting to get really good at is we're taking a lot of that check-in data and using it to help push people to discover new restaurants, new bars, new parks, new places to shop, just really new things in either new areas like unfamiliar cities or even areas that they're really already familiar with, like their own neighborhoods.
Yeah, because there's so many places in your own neighborhood that you don't even know are around the corner often.
Yeah, I use Foursquare all the time, like on weekends, to find brunch places in my neighborhood that I haven't been to before, right? Or places that to go to lunch that my that friends have recommended. We just moved into a new office space down in Soho in New York.
Oh, awesome!
And we've all been using Explorer to find like the best places to go because like we're really good at that stuff.
Yeah, that's okay. So Explorer is your new.
Well, Explorer is a product that we launched almost about a year ago.
Okay.
And it's like our recommendation engine, right? So the same way that Netflix will recommend movies and Amazon recommends books, we do the same type of stuff, but we do it for places and experiences. So we take all the interesting data that we have about the places that people are checking in or the tips that people are leaving at certain spots, and we use that to come up with customized results about things that you might want to do in this neighborhood or some other neighborhoods.
So Dodgeball and Foursquare were both location-based services.
Yep.
How did you ever come up with the idea? Like, when were you first interested in location-based services?
I think I first started getting really interested in this stuff when I moved to New York, because I went to, I'm from right outside Boston, and I went to school in upstate New York at Syracuse. And I moved down to the city, and the city's just like overwhelming. Like there's like an overwhelming amount of people to hang out with and places to go to and just like things to do in general. And the Dodgeball stuff initially was about trying to find the most efficient way to hang out with different groups of friends in one night. Like, why should I just hang out with one group of friends when I can hang out with 4 of them? If I just knew if I knew where everyone was, you'd be able to meet up with them easily, right? And so we were all using Dodgeball for the longest time through the whole Google experience. And then once Dodgeball went away, when Google ended up retiring it, we decided, hey, we should build something else that has some of that same functionality, but let's build a lot of new city guide stuff into it as well.
Oh, awesome. Now, I have to ask you, Foursquare, Dodgeball, tell me about your schoolyard days.
It's not an interesting story about like schoolyard, like playground games, but like, coming out of Syracuse, we used to, we needed a domain name for some of our stuff, and we picked Dodgeball. And we picked Dodgeball only because like wiffleball.com was taken and Foursquare.com was taken.
So wiffleball was your first choice?
Well, wiffleball was our first choice because we used to play that all the time in college. But then we also used to play Foursquare. We used to draw up Foursquare courts in the street like during block party and just play. It was kind of fun to play.
Yeah.
And so, that was the name I really wanted to get, but we couldn't get it at the time. So it turned into Dodgeball, and then eventually we're able to come back like 12, 15 years later and get the Foursquare.com name.
Oh, that's so funny. So tell me about some of the other things you're working on. You're working on Explorer. What's kind of up and coming for Foursquare?
Yeah, a lot of it is like taking the app apart and putting it back together in a way that makes a lot more sense. So, we started in 2009 and we've been building all sorts of stuff and just piling it on top of the app that we already have.
Yeah, I've heard your API. A lot of people are building on your API. Is that true?
Yeah, we've got, I don't even know what the number of developers is. There's probably about 20,000 developers that are like playing around with our data sets, our place databases, our Explore APIs. Just like,
So you've really created a platform. It's so much bigger. Do you ever have any idea how big that was going to get?
No, like a lot of the stuff's a big surprise to us, right? We ended up building the API because there was no APIs that we wanted to use when we first started the company. So it's like, well, if we're going to build this, we might as well give it back to everyone else too.
Right. Feels good to give back.
Well, yeah. Well, now there's like an army of people that are building off the tools that we've created, and like it's great for us because it really, it's good for the brand, it's good for the platform, it's good for developers, and it also helps our data set too. It makes our data set stronger, which then helps everyone else as well.
Totally. Oh, that's awesome. So what's your favorite check-in story?
My favorite check-in story? My personal check-in story?
Yes.
Or
whatever.
I think like in the early days of Foursquare, like we heard these stories about people that were like checking in and like almost like getting engaged through checking in. So
what?
I gotta dig up the original details of it. But I remember there was one guy that checked into the place and was like about to pop the question, and that's how his fiance learned about that. The engagement was about to go down. And so we heard like all these little interesting stories, right?
Oh
like
my God.
even just the other day, because I messed up my leg and I went to go see the doctor, and I checked in at the doctor's office, which is way uptown, and I was thinking like, has anyone ever checked in before? And Foursquare told me that when my other buddy messed up his knee, he went to go see the same doctor. And then, so I was like, oh my gosh, like now there's some like weird relevance.
That kind of makes you feel a little better.
It did, yeah. It was something totally unexpected because I was like, has anyone ever checked into this office before?
Yeah.
But it was, my buddy had been there, and then two of my friends had commented like, oh, that's the guy that fixed my knee, that's the guy that fixed my arm. And I was like, that's great. Like I'm at a place that like 4 other people have been to. And it's like just little things like that really make me believe that the platform's like, it's really important, it's really going places.
Yeah, oh, it definitely is. Now, tell me, okay, I have a question about the points and the badges. What inspired you to do that? And tell me how they work because I want more points.
Yeah, sure. So, a lot of the original thinking for Foursquare came out of this idea of like, how do you turn life into a game, right?
Right.
And from our Dodgeball experience, from the Dodgeball experience, we knew that checking in was interesting, but it wasn't something that lots of people wanted to do all the time if they didn't have friends on the service. So we thought if we were going to resurrect some of the Dodgeball ideas, we should also try to like turn it into a leaderboard, and like just like you'd play like a game of Pac-Man and one score is on top of the other score.
Do you know the Pac-Man song?
If you started, I could probably go the rest of it, but I'm not giving the guy
all I can think of is the sound that's like.
Yeah, so now I've got Super Mario in my head as soon as you started that. Yeah, exactly.
Here, sing it with me. So, okay. Wait, how's it?
This is all you. Yeah. I'm not falling for that. But,
okay, sorry.
But I appreciate the attempt. No. So like, just like we thought, like we could probably make a leaderboard for Saturday night, right?
Right.
So who had the most fun on Saturday? Who did the most interesting things this week? So that's where a lot of the point systems came from.
Oh.
And so now we give points for all sorts of stuff, like, have you connected with a friend for the first time in 6 months? Is this the first time back at a place? Did you find a new pizza place you've never been to before? Is this place really crowded? Are you the first person ever to check in here? So it's probably 100 or 200 different variables that award points for various check-ins.
I love it. I find I get the most points at airports.
Yeah.
And I go to like a zillion coffee shops, so that's where all my badges come from.
Yeah, so we did the leveling badges, so you can know like, oh, this person's like a level 8 coffee expert, which means that they've been to lots more coffee places than just like a regular user would.
Oh, that's really interesting.
So then we can start to use some of that data to say like, well, if this person leaves a tip about a coffee place, it's probably more valuable than just a regular user because they've been to such a wide diversity of coffee places.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask you about something. Mm-hmm. You won the Fast Money prize on Family Feud in 2009, is that true?
That is correct, yeah.
That's awesome.
It was pretty rad, yeah.
Something a caveman would put on his to-do list.
Invent the wheel.
All right, invent the wheel.
So What did you win?
What did I win? I think it was, I think you win $20,000 for doing it. Yeah, well, you get taxed on it, and then you got to split it with the 4 other members of your family.
That's actually really interesting. No one ever tells you about that part.
Yeah, I know. But this is like my brother, like my brother's dream since he was like 6 or 8 years old was to be on Family Feud.
Oh my God.
And so, I know, it sounds super weird. And then, we had, I think he had sent in like letters like, please consider our family. And then finally, 15, 20 years later, we ended up getting an audition in Boston. And we went for it, and our family got chosen. We went out to LA, and it was like the most fun 2 days ever.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we played I think we played 5 shows. Maybe it was 4 shows. We won 3 out of 4.
Oh my
Yeah, we were pretty dominant early on.
Yeah, you were just winning.
Yeah, well, they tape them back to back to back, and then we had our lunch break, and then like the wheels fell off the bus.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. What did you eat?
I don't know. I think we were cocky going into lunch, and then we just couldn't recover after that.
Oh yeah. Don't get cocky at lunch. That's what I just learned.
It was a lot of fun though. Yeah.
So okay, I have one last question for you.
Uh-huh.
What one piece of advice would you give to, an entrepreneur starting out with their company? Because you've had quite a lot of entrepreneurial experience.
Yeah.
So what one piece of advice would you offer up to a new entrepreneur?
Yeah, I went through the first couple years of my career in New York with experts in the space and people that I worked with telling me that the stuff that I was really excited about and the things that I wanted to build, like, oh, they wouldn't work, or that's impossible, or that's not going to be interesting. And so I just didn't build it. And then, I kind of got to the point where I was like, forget what they're saying. I'm just going to try to build this stuff on my own. And in that process, discovered that, I was, a lot of the hunches I had about things that I thought would be interesting actually were. So, the advice I've given to people is, don't listen to those people that say that, that's not going to work, that it's not interesting. If there's something that you're really passionate about building, you should be able to prove it to yourself that it's either not interesting or not going to work or totally broken. But, don't let other people tell you that your ideas won't work.
That's great piece of advice. Yeah. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much. You were just awesome.
Good. Well, thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
I'm like the Valley Girl.
I'm like Dennis Crowley.
Well, that was fun.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Sweet.